right. Good morning, everyone. Today we are going live again. I think this might be the third time this week. In the recording and mixing studio today and continuing to work on editing a remix for the song Alarm Bells by Special Victim. So I've got my coffee, I'm ready to go, and I'll bring up my editing screen. And if you want to follow along, great. If you have any questions, you can throw them into the chat. We should be live right now on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. So, whichever you feel like following along with, that's great. If you notice any sound issues, let me know also in the comments. You can post them. You can see as you're following the live video, you can post comments right along. So let's get started. I'm going to start playing. Today we're focusing on editing the bass drum and the bass guitar for a song called Alarm Bells. This is actually a remix of Alarm Bells called the Alarm Bells Rock Remix. A pretty raw rock version. The drums were recorded at a different time than the bass guitar. So there are some small issues that need to be fixed, some areas where they're not perfectly lined up. And instead of going back into the studio and asking the two musicians who worked on this to edit their parts, I'm going to do it for them here in the studio. And by the way, the two musicians are Josh. You may know Josh. He and I work together in a band called Octavate, and we do quite a few music projects together under that name. And the other musician is myself. Josh played the bass guitar and what we're going to listen to, and I played the drums. So let's listen along. I'll get us to a couple spots where we're working on, and I'll listen for areas where the bass guitar and the bass drums don't line up, and then we'll decide if we want to move some things around. So here we go. Make sure we can hear everything okay. Here we go. So you should right now be able not only to hear my voice, but in the background hear a simple bass guitar and a bass drum. I have just these two pieces isolated. You should be able to hear both of these. So if you're following along and you can't hear them, just let me know. Oh, that should fix any. Probably had a little feedback coming through. I had the sound on at my speakers in my room here. If you heard a little feedback, sorry about that. All right, let's back this up a little bit here. I want to hear a few of these spots here. All I'm focusing on is when the bass drum hits and the bass guitar hits to make sure they're lined up well. mainly because these two parts were recorded at different times, and I have a couple options. One, to go back and either ask Josh to re-record the bass, or me to go back and re-record the drums, or to just edit these in software. So I'm trying to do the edit in software. I actually heard one a few beats back. I'm not sure if I liked. Sounded like it may have been a little bit off. Let me listen to it again. All right, let me back this up a little bit here. This whole area is a little wonky. There's this part right here. I think this is the spot that I was editing yesterday that I stopped on. And if we look at it here, you can see the bass guitar is the blue bar here, is hit here. And I can see the bass drum is hit here. So they're off a little. The question is it off enough that it significantly impacts the feel, the sound? I think it might be. So this is where I did a little cutting yesterday. Let's listen to this part again, and then I'll move it around a little bit, and we can decide if we want to leave it out or not. It really wasn't that noticeable. I feel like the parts before it may have been worse off. So loud. The bass guitar is so loud. It's distorting. That's the end. You know, I'm wondering if I may want to just call this done. Let's unmute all the tracks. So we'll bring in the two overhead mics above the drum set, a microphone on top of the snare drum, a microphone on the bottom of the snare drum, a microphone by the hi-hats, and a microphone on the two different floor tom-toms. Bring those in. We'll bring in three different guitar parts that Josh played. This one's muted. Let's unmute that. Let's unmute that. Josh played two bass guitar parts. We'll bring those in, and we'll even bring in the vocal mixes that Josh put in. They're actually my singing tracks, but Josh put some effects and edited them the way that he wanted this remix to sound. I'm going to bring this thing back to the beginning, and let's listen to it through and see what we might want to change. Let's go.
You say what you gonna do. I'm gonna turn my back right around on you. I'm gonna stop it right now. If you did it, I can send you right out the door if you do it again. what's with all the left? Not one to say that we run a tight ship. It's come and go, ebb and flow. We give and we take. Sometimes it could be better with just a clean break. What you gonna do when the past is coming? What you run to when there's no more funnin'? How you gonna get there when there's no one to take you? How you feel now you bit more than you can chew? You don't appear to hear what anyone else says. You're in your own space now and it's become a mess. How about you open up and look all around? Realize we're here together, not alone on the ground. Try to understand what's with all the left. Not one to say that we run a tight ship. It's come and go, ebb and flow. We give and we take. Sometimes it could be better with just a clean break. Alarm bells are ringing in my head. Got up on the wrong side of it. I don't care what you say, what you gonna do. I'm gonna turn my back right around on you. What you gonna do when the past is coming? What you gonna do when there's no more funnin'? How you gonna get there when there's no one to take you? How you feel now you bit more than you can chew? Alarm bells are ringing in my head. Got up on the wrong side of bed. What you gonna do when the past is coming? What you run to when there's no more funnin'? How you gonna get there when there's no one to take you? How you feel now you bit more than you can chew?
Hey, Marilyn. It's so nice to see you. How are you? All right. So we just listened to that whole thing all the way through. I think it sounds, I don't know, I think it sounds done. I could keep picking apart these drum parts, but I think they're good. Yeah, it's been a long time, Marilyn. It's been a very long time. I'm thinking you're probably north of me by many thousands of miles now since the last time we spoke. If I think about it, you were many thousands of miles east of me the last time we caught up. Hope you're doing well. How's life been? So many changes since we last caught up. I think the last time we spoke was it just as you were changing jobs, and I think the pandemic was just thinking about starting, and then it did, and here we all are. All right, I gotta get back to this project here. So I've been editing this song, and I don't know, I think the piece that I was focused on today, which was aligning up the bass guitar and the bass drum, I think these are lined up well enough. That sounded good enough for me. I know Josh is pickier than I am, but I think it sounded good enough. And when we release the song, it will be released under the band name Special Victim. it will be part of an Alarm Bells remix EP that I tried to get out this year, but it will get out in early 2021 with remixes from many friends, Jay, Joe, Garrett. You may have heard me talk about them. We've worked together on a bunch of different things before. And I may take this edit of Alarm Bells and hand it off to Jay to see if he would do me the honor of being our mixing and mastering engineer, just to make it sound just right for online streaming. So I don't know. I think it looks good. I think it sounds good. Marilyn, no, I don't think I have shared this. I have shared some of this with my new PA. I don't know if I've shared this specific Facebook feed. I know you're in my Facebook feed right now, but we have talked about our hobbies and our other projects. So yes, we did. All right. No, I think this sounded good. If I solo these again one more time, just to listen to the areas that I was focusing on, which is just the bass guitar and the bass drum, trying to find any areas of concern. I'm going to listen to it again a little bit more. There's a spot back there where there was a bit of a mistake that I think was on me because I played the drums in this. And I edited this the other day when I went live. I actually think I played a little drum fill, a little pattern, a little fast. And I came in early on the bass drum. It was way back here. And I actually did a cut and paste. I cut it, I sliced it, and moved it over to align up with Josh's bass. You can hear the drum fill. It sounds a little, I say a little off, but I think in the end it'll be fine. Just feels like there's a tiny stutter, but I think it'll be fine in the end. Let me turn everything on so you can actually hear this. I'll back it up a few seconds. See, I think it sounds fine with all the other parts of the song in there. Yeah, Len, it is very much like video editing. The software is so similar. You're just kind of taking different parts, slicing them up, moving them around. I think about this when I got into music originally, which was, 25 years ago. Everything was done on a cassette tape. Or at least that was the equipment I had. So this just didn't exist. You had to rewind cassette tape and record over a piece of it. But you had no computer interface. So what we have today is a dream. Actually, I'm going to back up. There's a part there that I just want to hear it again. I notice when I listen to this, there are parts where the bass drum and the bass guitar aren't perfectly lined up. And in fact, if I look at these lines, the bass drum should be hitting right on these lines. You can see spots where I'm a little before or a little after, and that just shows it's a human. There's an actual human playing this. It's not created by a computer, and human precision in some cases is great. In other cases, it's just off a little bit, but I could move this to make it all line up, but if I was to do that, why wouldn't I just have the computer create the drums for me? I have songs that are all computer generated drums, all electronic drums. And then I have songs that are not. So I like to have that mixture. The original version of Alarm Bells has both electronic and acoustic drums in it. This version will all be acoustic, and I'm leaving the little anomalies in because I want it to have that live feel.
Forget that when there's no one to take you, I feel now you bit more than you can chew.
All right, I think I'm done for the day. I think I'll save this. I think I will send the audio files to Jay to see if he's up for editing it. And I think the next thing that I have to work on is I'm working on a song with Josh for the band Octavate. And our next song that we're working on is called Wearing Thin. It is our pandemic song. We wrote it in April and we recorded an early version of it. We both liked it, so we've gone back and we're now finishing up to release it on streaming services. And so I've recorded drums for it, though we may send drums off to a professional drummer that we use in some of our songs. We need to decide if we like my version of drums or if we want to send them off. But I also recorded a bunch of vocal tracks for Wearing Thin. And so I think I'll work on that the next time I go live. What I need to do is listen to my 5 different vocal takes and see if there's any issues to work on. And I'll probably use a piece of software called Melodyne. You may not know the name of the software, but I'm sure you know the word auto-tune. And Melodyne is the tool that many people use for auto-tune to make rappers sound like they can sing or make singers sound like they are extraordinary singers. Melodyne is the professional software that sound engineers and mixers use to, and producers use to get that great singing voice. So I'm going to take my take of Wearing Thin. I will share it with you so you can hear my raw singing and you can decide for yourself if I'm decent, good, great, or a terrible singer. And then we might bring it into Melodyne and figure out how we can tweak it a little bit. So I think that's what I'll work on next time. So thanks for joining. Len, it was great seeing you. Thanks for joining in the chat. Love when we get a chance to catch up. And I hope all things are going well for you. And we'll catch up next time. So I think we'll stop the stream here. And I'm going to get going today. After this, I'm actually moving this whole office around. I'm going to move everything to the other side of the room so I don't have a door behind me anymore. I've had this door behind me ever since I set this room up, and I never thought that I'd be going live in this room, and I realized that people could walk in, and that'd be annoying for them to walk in while I'm going live. So I'm going to move this room around, get it cleaned up, and it might be a couple days before I go live again, because who knows if I'll get this room all set up. So, hey, everyone, thanks for joining. I see a couple of you out there across the different services. So we'll go live again soon on the Sean Valley Music channels or the Music by SV channels. I've been testing out this Go Live software that allows me to stream across Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. So far, so good. So anyways, thanks for coming, everyone, and bye for now. See ya.